Hello, Steve. Today is Monday, February the 3rd. And I realize this is the first time I've ever done one of these in an odd numbered day. How odd. So let's start today by talking about the Super Bowl. As anybody who watched the game to tell you, it was a complete beatdown. You picked Seattle to win the Super Bowl, and they ended up winning 43-8, which means they essentially turned the Denver Broncos into glue. So you deserve some mad props for picking that one correctly. But our predictions was much more than just the Super Bowl winners. Let's talk about the other categories. At the start of the game, the coin flip was tails, so you won that one. But to balance that out, Seattle won the coin toss, so I won that. Seattle was the first team to make an interception, point for me. Seattle was also the first team to score a point. It actually only took 12 seconds into the game, and that's point for you. Seattle got the longest offensive play, point Jason. But once you end to balance that out, Denver's punter had the highest net yards, point for Steve. I won the longest kick/punt return category. When 12 seconds into the second half, Seattle returned a kickoff all the way for a touchdown, so point for me on that one. Seattle easily kicked the most field goals, so point you. Denver was the first team to lose a fumble, so also point you. But on the exact same play, Seattle was the first team to sack a quarterback, so counterpoint for me. And very fortunately for me, there was a defensive touchdown, an interception returned by Seattle. At this point, that's 6 categories for me, 6 categories for you, and there's only one category left. And that category was the last team to score a point, which happened to be Seattle, which gave me the final point. So I got 7 categories, and you got 6. But this prediction game that we were playing was about connections, not about total wins. Neither of us made any 5-length or 4-length connections. But both of us did make a 3-length connection. And when I first tallied the results, I thought we both made 2 of these. At which point I started celebrating my victory. But exactly one day later, I looked it over again and actually saw that you made 3 3-length connections compared to my 2. Which means my celebration was premature and you're actually officially the winner. Now, the board itself made a pretty cool pattern. The blue squares indicate the categories that I won, and the red squares indicate the categories that you won. I ended up dominating the north, and you ended up dominating the south. So I'm going to have to put this humbling defeat behind me and move on to other stuff. I'm also excited to start my Oscar predictions soon, and the Winter Olympics are beginning very shortly as well. I also had quite the weekend this week. On Saturday, I traveled by bus to Norwood, a small town near Peterborough, for one of my friend's wedding. And Friday was one of the best Fridays I've had in a while. So I'll leave things at that. Now on to chess. I'm pretty sure you actually want me to take your knight, so I'm going to do a different move. I'm going to take your pawn by moving my bishop from g1 to e3. I await your response. Mwah.